Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. The Michigan State Spartans getting it done in the 2024 recruiting trail, landing four-star wide receiver Nick Marsh was committed to Michigan State, decommitted to Michigan State, looked like he was going to Penn State for a little bit, and winds up committing back to Mel Tucker and the Michigan State Spartans. And we've talked about it. It's been kind of a slow start for Michigan State in this 2024 class, but you take a look at some of the guys they've had on campus and some of the guys they're having traction for. This could be a really exciting next couple of weeks for Michigan State on the recruiting trail. Again, we're going to get into Nick Marsh, what he brings to the table, because he's an absolute freak. Like, there's, as a Michigan fan, I hate to say this, kind of reminds me a little bit of Keon Coleman in terms of the size and speed that he brings to the table. We're going to talk Nick Marsh. We're also going to talk about what this Michigan State class could look like in 2024. Now, again, before we do, just want to say shout out to you guys. The support has been absolutely awesome. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, appreciate you guys for rocking with the fellas. We appreciate it. Let's get into Nick Marsh. 6'3", 200 pounds. And you just get into the athletic profiling of him before you even turn on the tape and what he can do on the football field. Phenomenal frame, phenomenal length. And then you also add 11.37 100-meter dash time, which is, that is like flying. And then you add he's 200 pounds, 6'3", 200 pounds. The size and speed that he's bringing to the table is next level. And then the next thing, and arguably the thing I love most about his game, basketball background. And you see that on the football field. Like, when that football is in the air, he is extremely comfortable going up, high pointing that football, controlling his body, making those contested catches. Kind of all those things Keon Coleman was really good at. And again, I don't want to comp him to Keon Coleman because Keon Coleman is truly a special talent. But that does say a little bit of what I think about Nick Marsh as just an athletic profile standpoint. Then when you turn on the film, and we'll get to that, he's a guy that 6'3", 200-pound frame, very, very hard to bring down. And that was something, as a Michigan fan, I remember, and I haven't watched back that Michigan State game from last year. Like, Keon Coleman dominated the catch point against Michigan, but he was also a guy that just our defensive backs, it was extremely hard to bring him down. Nick Marsh kind of offers some of that similar type of game. Again, 6'3", 200 pounds, extremely physical. Bigger DBs have trouble keeping up with him because of his speed. And then if you're a smaller DB, the physicality that Nick Marsh brings, it's just at a different level, and he's really hard to deal with, kind of turning him into a little bit of a matchup nightmare. This is probably the best part of Nick Marsh's game. As good as he is after the catch, like, when you just throw the football up to him, go ask him to make a play, go ask him to make a combat catch. That's when Nick Marsh, I think, truly kind of excels. Phenomenal body control, super comfortable working with that football, catching it at its highest point. And then he's really good vertically too. Like, again, 11.37 100-meter dash time. He absolutely flies. DBs who are smaller have a hard time dealing with the physicality of him. And then if you put a bigger DB on him, these defensive backs really struggle to just keep up with the absolute speed that Nick Marsh brings to the table. Now, you're going to see just endless highlights of him just going to work in a variety of different ways. Like, he is not a one-trick guy that can only be a contested catch kind of guy. He can create some separation. He can win with the speed. He can win with the size. That's probably what you like most. And again, just how comfortable he is tracking the football, making a play on it. That's what you love the most. Now, I want to get to the arguably a little bit more of the fun part for Michigan State fans, and that's talking about what this 2024 class could look like, taking a look at some of the top talent that has been on campus. And Mel Tucker, that's kind of why a part of the reason you bring in Mel Tucker is he's a guy that can recruit everywhere, right? You're in it for guys in California and Florida and Texas. You've seen him in the 2022 and 2023 class kind of go nationally recruiting. You're seeing that a little bit. And although it's been a slow start in terms of commitments, there's a lot of traction with some top blue chip guys in this 2024 class. And I feel like part of it is if Michigan State can win some games in this 2023 season, you might start getting some more guys interested in this Michigan State team. But to talk about what we have at the table for Michigan State, it starts with David Stone, right? A guy that's been on campus, 8, 9, 10 times maybe. It seems like it's between Michigan State and Oklahoma. And I wouldn't rule Michigan State out. From what I've read, I don't know if I consider them the favorite, but I think they're certainly in it with David Stone. And he is kind of the crown jewel of this class. And you're starting to see some momentum build for Michigan State. So maybe that happens. And if David Stone commits, that's when it gets special because he's that kind of caliber player that other guys are going to want to go play for. Next couple of guys I want to talk about. DeAndre Carter from Mater Dei. He's a really interesting. He canceled his USC visit. So a Mater Dei kid cancels his USC visit, his official visit, to come and see Michigan State. That's massive. And again, the offensive line it's been experienced. It's been solid. I think it's lacked some of that top talent. DeAndre Carter, 6'4", 340 pounds, plays tackle at the high school level. So I think he certainly could play tackle, probably slots in best at guard. That would be really nice. And then you're potentially looking at one of the more exciting running back duos in the country. Jason Brown, top 100 national running back from Seattle. His only official visit during the month of June was with Michigan State, which makes you feel pretty good. And you already have Anthony Carey in the boat, and getting back to that run game from Michigan State will be vital. You look at how good that offense was in 2021 with Kenneth Walker, and then the dip. Peyton Thorne, I don't think became a worse quarterback. I think the lack of a run game really hurt Peyton Thorne's ability to move the football down the field. You bring in a guy like Anthony Carey and Jason Brown, two of the more sought-after running backs in the 2024 class. You feel good about that. And then you get Jamari Howard, another Michigan State guy that was back on campus. It's been a slow start. You pull up the class from Michigan State right now, right? You're sitting at top 50 class. You add Nick Marsh into the fold. He's your top-ranked recruit now. You have some nice depth, right? Some nice three-star guys. I mean, Reggie Powers was a guy Ohio State wanted. Justin Dennison, the number one player in Rhode Island, that was a nice get. You have some nice gets, and you're starting to build some depth. And I think what Michigan State now needs to focus their attention on doing is starting to land some of that top talent, some of the top 200, top 100 talent. Nick Marsh is a good start. Jason Brown, David Stone, DeAndre Carter. Those would be the gets that we're talking about another top 25, potentially top 20 class for Michigan State. And again, it's easy for fans to panic, in my opinion, on the commitments. Like, oh, how many we only when it comes December. And I think I just went off the screen a little bit, but that's what it comes down to. And so if you're a Michigan State fan, yeah, sure, it's not great to only have 12 commitments right now sitting here in July. You also have a guy in Dylan Williams who's committing later today, potentially a Michigan State lean as well. That one has been kind of a wild one to follow. But if you're a Michigan State fan, I think you feel pretty good about where your class is, but you feel better about the traction you're getting on the recruiting trail. Again, a massive one here with Nick Marsh. Appreciate you guys checking the boys out. Wanted to keep it short, and we'll talk to y'all later.